There we are. All right, let's do some stuff. Check 1, check 2. We are live. Come on, Matt.
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah, we appreciate you too, staff.
Peace up, A-Town. Yeah! Okay! Usher. Lil Jon! Yeah!
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Hail to the king, baby.
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifeatu Melifonwu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Fred and Chad. Love the afternoon show, huh? Let's go. Oh, yeah. Welcome one. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. And it isn't just Russell Wayne, it's my compadre too, since he's up there. I didn't pull him off of this. That's Main Event Mike up in the house. How you doing today, mate? Main Event Mike.
I'm doing so good, Russell. So good. I'm getting in my off-season groove on starting today.
Yep, that 365-day schedule. That's what we're doing right here. And this was the franchise tagging day, right? Teams can start franchise tagging their own, right? That's what's going on today.
Today is the transition player start of that period in the offseason, yes. But we usually don't see any of that even happening. Just now is when it starts to be okay with the rules. We don't see it happening this early. Franchise tags and all that comes as things start to heat up. Free agency comes first, and then the draft. So these are just on this slide you're showing here, just the things in between. Just goes to show you how much the NFL has built up this off season and how it's interesting for football people like you and I. I mean, some people I know out there are like, man, I need a break from football. Russ and I don't take breaks from football. We just love it so much. We're immersed in it. We're going to be here doing this, right? So
yeah, well, at least twice a day.
Yeah,
on this network. We're twice a day with Smoke and Jeremy B all talking football. I mean, at least twice a day, we got to come on here and run our mouths about some football. But yeah, the transition tag, franchise tag is first day that they can do it. It really doesn't apply to the Lions all that much. I don't think that they're going to franchise tag anybody anyway. So, I know that was a little bit off, but I just wanted to bring that schedule up because we are following that schedule. But what we want to get into is a little bit of the capology, uh, the 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 understanding of the science of the cap, because we got a little bit of money, and I think that there's some misconceptions that are out there as it pertains to the cap. And yeah, I mean, you've heard that theory, Mike, that the salary cap's kind of a myth, right? And
Oh
why
yeah.
would they say something like that?
Well, because teams at this point, everyone's out there. Oh, they're in cap hell, 46 million under. Well, and they always find a way because it's set up that way. And with an increase in the salary cap imminent now, it's even more of a myth. They've got plenty of room. The TV contracts have cashed, the salary cap goes up. We're good. The Lions sitting pretty though, top 10 in cap room.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at over the cap, and I wish I could show you the reference point. I should be able to get back to my stuff tomorrow. But right now I'm showing $44 million that is available in cap space, and there's opportunity all over the place to even add more. And there's a post that's on our page, which is Villain Squad, at the page Villain Squad, 44,000 followers, 45,000 followers now on there. Thank you for following that page. But there's a couple interesting conversations that are on there that you can be a part of, talking about extending guys and extending guys like Jared Goff. So I was met with some adversity on these posts. People are like, "Yeah, you extend those two guys, you're going to be 70 million, and there's your whole off season." So I wanted to do a little bit of exercise with some of the things and help people understand a little bit of how the cap works. So I kind of look at these contracts that they have. When you take a guy like Jared Goff, he is in the last year of his deal. So on the last year of his deal, that becomes team friendly at that point. There's not any guaranteed money on on this contract, and there's opportunity. Whenever you've been paying on for something for a long time, at the end of it, you built some equity. So when they extend Jared Goff, his base salary is $22 million. They can, in fact, convert all of that into a signing bonus that they can spread over 3 or 4 years, and which would lower the cap number from 32 million. I mean, you could probably lower it $20 million if they wanted to do it. So there's one opportunity. They got some equity in Goff.
You've actually got a question in the comments. Is it true if we extend Goff with a signing bonus, we can easily free up 20 more million? And that's what you just said, right?
Yep.
But how does that happen?
Well, what you're doing is you're converting that salary. You're taking, I mean, it's one of the cool things about extensions, but you're converting that salary, you're making it guaranteed money for one. So he would have guaranteed money, which I think it's irresponsible if they don't extend Goff with no guaranteed money. You just don't do that for players that you like, for one. But no, you can take that money that you were supposed to spend this year, and then you spread that signing bonus, that $22 million. They'll probably, let's say 4 years. Well, there's 5 million, 5 million, 5 million, 5 million, right? Over the years, so you're not taking that hit this year,
right?
So
because what hits against the cap, what hits against the cap is already set for this year.
Yeah, well, we're at $32 million, but you can open up with that base salary. If you lower that base salary to where he's only getting $5 or $6 million this year, you're spreading that money to the future years. And the thing is like you're not going to get caught in a trick box unless you have a lot of guaranteed money and unless you want to get out of the contract early, which I don't think that that's a problem. If you put 2 years on the end of this deal, you know, or 3 years on the end of this deal. Yeah, I mean, I would think that they want to keep him for the whole contract, wouldn't they?
So you want to keep Jared Goff for 4 or 5 years total?
Well, if that's what they're going to invest and do, but you would make it get outable after 2 years. You know, he would be this year and next year, and after next year, you would have an opportunity to get out at a loss. You know, but if you wanted to move on to Hendon Hooker or whatever, those options are still on the table with or without this extension. But you can free up some money this year to spend this year to win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay. So if you do that, and then the salary cap goes up, we got Fred saying that that's like 19 million this year. If that goes up, or if that goes up and we get 19 million in extra reserve, and then you're talking about kicking the can down the road on the contract for Jared Goff, and now you free up another, what is the question? Is it around 20 million?
Well,
Is that what the math works out to be?
Well, that's what you could get. Yeah. I mean, if you're
so there you're looking at 39 million on top of the 4. Now, is that on top of the 44 million we have now?
Correct. Yep. Now you can do the same thing with Taylor Decker. So Taylor Decker's base salary is $12 million. So that means that you could probably free up another $10 million right there in equity on kicking the can down the road with Taylor Decker. And he's somebody you actually want on your team for 4 more years.
But Russ, doesn't the bill eventually come due and you end up where, you know, some of these teams they fell short of the Super Bowl and all those contracts maxed out, all their great rookies contracts matured, and now they're sitting there and they got to tear it down. You got to start again.
No, it doesn't work like that when you're drafting well, because you're always going to have high impact players that are still on rookie contracts. Right now, they're saving money on Penei Sewell. They're saving money on Aiden Hutchinson. They were saving money on Amon-Ra St. Brown. And these are the guys they should be paying. You know, these guys that you do want to extend and move down the road. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's the only one that would probably count against the cap this year because he was making $1.50. So you're going to bump him up. You know, his cap number might be, 15 million this year, but that's still going to count against our cap.
Yes, but all of that money that you're freeing up now has to go to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell and all these guys got to get paid out of that money. So, and then you've got, I think I heard Jeremy B say 18 million is what it's going to take to sign the rookies. But it still looks like we're already being 44 million in the black. It looks like Brad Holmes got this thing set right up.
Yeah, this is set up. Yeah.
Jordan Miho says, with all that money, you can go buy a stadium lion with that kind of extra money.
Yeah, you just have to be able to manage the money per year that you're in, and Brad Holmes has done a good job. I'm curious to see how he does manage this year, because this is the first year that I've seen that they've been at a position of where you don't have a million holes to fill, where you're really just trying to maintain what you had and build upon it. And that's where I think that we're at. Don't be surprised if they re-sign Glasgow, they re-sign Jonah, they re-sign Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they re-sign all of these secondary players that they're probably going to be able to get on minimum contracts, and they fill the roster up with a lot of the same guys that were here last year. And why wouldn't you?
Absolutely, Jordan. I think it should be a real lion, right? A stadium lion. That'd be a real lion. Why wouldn't you? Absolutely, Russ.
But those are just some of the things I wanted to go into. Some of the Capology. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. You got to look at, if you go to over the cap, you guys can do this math yourself. I'm not some kind of genius here or whatever, and like some expert. I just go to over the cap, and if you know how to read that cap, look at their base salary numbers, look at what their guaranteed numbers are. Then you're mixing and matching, And if there's a big base salary, that means that you have an opportunity to get equity in that player. So you could do it with Tracy Walker too. That's another question that's going to be there. You know, he's due like $7.9 million, and he was a healthy scratch for all 3 playoff games. It's a lot of money to spend on a special teamer.
Well, they signed him to a 3-year contract and told him that he'd be part of the turnaround.
Yeah, he can't help that everybody outplayed him.
And now it looks like he could be gone. I think a lot of it's going to hinge on what happens with CJ, because Tracy Walker, from the Chicago game, he never played again. When they gave up that touchdown to DJ Moore on the play that Aiden Hutchinson was offsides, that was Tracy Walker. That was Tracy Walker's fault. Where is the help? That's your job. Don't let people get there. And he blew that. And he never played again, Russ. A healthy scratch, sitting on the bench. Crazy, right?
So he is a cut casualty too. I mean, you could cut him and save $5.5 million to the cap this year.
Right.
I mean, you'd eat some dead money, though, in that way. I mean, you could trade him. I mean, for a nothing pick, you could swap 7th round picks with somebody and to try to get out the contract. But I mean, who's going to do that? Hey, you want to overpay our guy that we overpaid? No, I definitely don't want to, and give up draft capital.
Right. Chad brings up a good point that backloaded contracts in 4 years, the cap should go up another 80+ million. Well, that's a real speculation and just throwing that number out, 80+ million, but we don't know what that number would be really, but that's a good point that you're backloading those contracts and you figure if it's going up 19 million this year, and this product is just huge.
I mean, if the Lions, God, you want to talk about a controversial thing that they could do, but let's say they wanted to bet on Hendon Hooker now, right? From now, if they cut Jared Goff, they could save $27 million. That's because there's no guaranteed money on the deal. And this is why they have to extend him, by the way. Yeah, I mean,
right.
You can't leave him hanging out there like that. If he gets injured, they could cut him,
You should be advised that we're having a side conversation, Russ, about using the money to buy a real live lion for Ford Field.
I'd be down with that. I mean, I think Jared Goff would sacrifice,
$1 million
part of his contract to make sure that happens.
Look, man, I think we really need a lion. Fred Peterson says, I read an NFL story that had the Lions in second for the biggest window to be in the Super Bowl, not just contending, but in it this coming season. Let's make it happen. Thanks for the comment, sir. And then Steve says, I gave the Packers $150 to help them out with their cap situation because he is an owner,
Oh my gosh.
And then Jordan says, yeah, you got to pay handlers, feeders, and veterinarians to keep that lion healthy. You can't just buy a live lion and feed it Coney dogs and Verners.
Oh my God.
Now we're going to feed it quarterbacks. That's what we're going to feed it.
Well, I wanted to get into some of our needs this year because Brad Holmes has done such a good job, but I just kind of wanted to get out and show people what was available out there, and you have some predictions too, Mike, don't you, on what you actually think is going to happen?
Are we shifting gears and talking about the draft? Because I got a take I've been working up on this.
Well, not the draft. I don't want to call it the draft. What I want to do is call what would you say? And we talked about this. The biggest position of need that you want to get better at.
For the Lions, everybody knows, and it's very obvious, it's the secondary.
Yes. So I would say, and more specifically, cornerback.
Okay. So in that case, let me inform you that Mel Kiper. Now, look, I know Mel Kiper. Everybody hates Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper's been wrong a billion times, right? But unfortunately, Mel Kiper is the standard. Okay. He is the media benchmark for draft predicting. And it's from Mel Kiper that all other things sprout in the draft order, like it or not. And the top rated corner on Mel Kiper's draft board is Clemson cornerback Nate Wiggins. And he's going to the Minnesota Vikings at 11 by Mel Kiper standards. That is the first corner off the board, pick 11. So if Brad Holmes got his eye on the best corner and he's at 29, who's within 11 that we can make a trade for to get that corner?
Okay, well, there's a couple of guys here. So I'm looking at PFF rankings, by the way, and I just renewed my subscription because they gave me a really nice deal to do the whole year. But what I'm looking at right here, the number 7th ranked, and they got a couple of guys here, man, that I would think that would be first round grades, so sort of right now. Nate Wiggins from Clemson. There's also Cooper Deshaun from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And then is it Quinyon Mitchell from
Okay.
Toledo? That's the
So are you telling me that the PFF highest rated corner was also Mel Kiper's highest rated corner? Nate Wiggins.
No, he would be the second one. Wiggins was the second rated corner. And now this is
who's the top rated corner?
That would be Cooper Deshaun from Iowa. 6'1", 207 pounds, and he's graded out at BFF. This year was 77.4 and 88.5 in 2022. So he's shown consistency through it. And Wiggins is a beast too, grading out at 82.5 this year. He had the best season out of the cornerbacks. Quinyon Mitchell is just kind of a beast, a phenom right here. The PFF grades are outstanding, but you know
what about the corner from Alabama, Terrion Arnold?
Now he is the 14th ranked prospect.
Wow, 14th, huh?
Yep. And then his counterpart, Kool-Aid McKinstry, is the 21st ranked prospect. And this is a good thing, right? You know, we're looking at this. Looks like a deep, high end, top heavy cornerback crew here. Enyas Rackstraw Jr. from Missouri, the 29th ranked prospect. 38th ranked prospect, TJ Tampa from Iowa State. Now,
his last name is Tampa.
His name is Tampa.
And what position does he play?
He plays cornerback.
Okay.
Tampa too.
if he gets drafted by the Bucks.
So I'm looking at these. So number 53, Michigan cornerback Mike Sanderstill. Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. Jarian Jones from Florida State. Cam Hart from Notre Dame. Chris Abrams-Drain from Missouri. Andrew Phillips from Kentucky. Wow, that is a high end. Now that is, if we're counting them out, that's got to be out of the top 100 prospects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 prospects are cornerbacks that are in the top 100 players right now. Well, I'd like to see how that changes by the time they get done running in shorts. What do you think, Mike?
Of course it's going to change. It's going to change, but some of those names at the beginning of that list are still going to be there at that time, right? Cooper DeJean's going to be there. Nate Wiggins going to be there. And these are the guys that the experts pick. Even though you might not like Mel Kiper, he is the benchmark. And all those names that you mentioned there, you had PFF had Terrion Arnold as the 14th best corner. Mel Kiper's got him going 13 overall to the Raiders.
Oh, no. This is not 14th overall.
14th corner is what I meant.
No, this is not the 14th corner. This is the 14th overall prospect in
My
the
bad.
draft.
What is the highest ranked corner on PFF?
I mean, that's I have them in order, but when I give you the thing, this is overall prospect rankings here. So your Cooper DeShawn is the 7th overall prospect. He's the number 1 corner.
Okay.
From Iowa. Nate Wiggins is the 9th overall prospect, but he's the number 2 corner on this list. Quinyon Mitchell, he's the 13th overall prospect, 3rd ranked, cornerback. So, but the 14th ranked cornerback is in the top 100 players in the entire draft. So that's a pretty deep, high top end group. So I think that, I don't know. It doesn't general manager Brad Holmes always surprise you anyway, but it seems like a pretty deep group. Might be able to get a couple players out of it.
He might shock us all. And of course, we know free agency is going to shape all of this, right? I'm more focusing in on speculating about what kind of a move Brad Holmes would make. And I'm looking at corners. Jacksonville, Cooper DeJean at 17 is what Kiper predicts. And then there's even a couple of corners ahead of him. Terrion Arnold at 13 to the Raiders, and Nate Wiggins, corner from Clemson, going 11 to the Vikings. So to me, I want to look at pick 29. Who could possibly trade back to 29 so we can get up and get one of these 3 guys, the highest rated corners? Now, Cooper DeJean's an Iowa guy, right? So it's going to be real popular in the locker room. You said he's PFF's number 1 rated.
Number 1 rated right now. And this is just going off of what their grades were in college too, from last year. So I don't know if that actually means like that actual player compared to the other players, because they're not going against, our competition up on the level up here. But free agency wise, out of the top 100 players looking at PFF right here, I don't think you're going to get these first 2 guys. They'll probably get franchise tagged. Jalen Johnson is probably going to stay a Bear. They'll probably give him either a long-term deal. Snead, I don't know if we'd have a shot at getting him. He's probably going to sign a franchise tag, but they're saying he would be worth $17 million a year. Kendall Fuller, 15th overall, ranked free agent. They're saying that he would get $13 million a year. And Jeremy B's man crush right here, Chidobe Awuzui from Cincinnati. I like that move too. He's got he might be my favorite guy too. It's a 26. One of these guys, and I like the idea of Stephen Gilmore, just bringing him in on a 1-year shot for a title. You could probably get him cheaper, if he wanted to come here.
Right.
Steven Nelson, and he played for that Houston team this year that overachieved, and he's a little older. So he's probably a cap casualty. Kenny Moore from Indianapolis. These are some of the low. Adoree Jackson, Casey on Nixon. He'll probably stay with Green Bay. And that's really it. Pretty thin cornerback in free agency. So maybe they get one of those guys. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. When it comes to free agents, I'm Brad Holmes miffs me more than anything. Even more than the draft on the things he does in the draft. So, who saw CJ coming? I remember when that announcement came. No one saw that coming. There was no leaks. It was a blow right out of the blue. What did you hear? Russ, did you hear?
The crazy thing is that I remember when we started free agency last year, Mike, we had about, I think it was 17 million at the beginning of free agency. And, as far as he stretched that was kind of crazy to me, because it seemed like he signed 3 players and the number went up. So he was constructing these contracts using those void years to his advantage. And it didn't really kill us this year. We had the 58 million. But because of the void year stuff he did last year, we still ended up with 44 million to start this off season. So I kind of like the strategy, don't you?
Yeah, and it's something that we talked about all the time. How we saw this 2 years ago. What he was shedding all the weight, right? We saw this nice fluid thing that he had going, a fluid salary cap. But then again, that's all dependent on if you're hitting on your draft picks, and he did.
Right. Yep, he's at a point now where you're not going to be able to pay all these draft picks, and you can tell that he's looking for specific guys. Even these guys that played on our team that ain't going to make our team this year.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they'll be at other places, and the first chance that they get, they might want to come back here and play. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I mean, think of the guys that left and might want to come back and be here.
Right.
But I don't know. So that's the cornerbacks. That wasn't the only position in need, though, was it, Mike?
No, we're also looking at defensive line or edge rusher.
So let's take a look at this. So, because I got both of these lists up right here, and I like how you went after Mel Kiper's lists and everything like that, and we got a good compare and contrast right here with the PFF rankings right here.
Absolutely, and that's what you have to do, right? We're trying to decipher this maze. We're trying to make it through this murky, and we're totally speculating because you don't know what's going to happen. Free agency is going to shape the draft.
So interior defenders.
While you get set up for a minute, let me go to a couple of these comments. Is that cool?
Yes, please. Yes, yeah. Let me get set up.
We got some good comments going on here, and something maybe we could talk about. Some things we could talk about as well. Oh gosh. Jordan says, I want to know if Money Badger is safer if we look for a new kicker in free agency. Can't keep rotating the same 2 kickers in and out forever. That's a good point. But I know one thing, if we draft a kicker, Russell Wayne will lose his shit.
Well, just don't draft him in the 3rd round and I'll be okay. I told you, if it's day 3, I can live with it,
Right. Steve says Cooper DeJean might not get past Green Bay if he lasts that long. No, I don't think so. Green Bay picks 25th, and Mel Kiper's got them taking an offensive tackle. And Cooper DeJean going 17 to Jacksonville. So, obviously, if they go out and they get a couple of stud corners, the Lions aren't going to be looking for a corner in this draft. But right now, their biggest need is, I think it's universal, it's unanimous. Everyone agrees. The biggest need is in the secondary at the cornerback position. We got a good safety room going. We've got some pieces at corner, but that's our biggest need. We ranked 27th in pass defense last year. So Quinyon Mitchell is a name that keeps getting thrown out. Steve says Quinyon Mitchell's most highly talked about corner in this draft besides Kool-Aid McKinstry. Absolutely. And then Steve says, I predict Quinyon Mitchell going to Pittsburgh. Mel Kiper has at Pittsburgh with the 20th pick, Kamari Lassiter, cornerback from Georgia. So, Steve, you nailed the actual position with what Mel Kiper said. You just got the wrong player.
Yeah, he got the Quinyon Mitchell is an interesting thing because he's the small school darling. I like that pick because that never meant anything when it comes to like people's work ethic and what they bring to the table. So his PFF rankings were 91.5 and 23 and 92.5 and 22 and 79.7 his freshman year. So this kid's been pretty consistent.
I'm going to make a meme. You know that meme of the guy in the yellow coat rubbing his hands behind a tree?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a meme that says the meme lords waiting for the Lions to get a dude named Kool-Aid. We're going to go crazy if the Detroit Lions have a guy named Kool-Aid on the team. and that's his birth name.
Well, I mean, here's this kid right here. So let's look at Kool-Aid McKinstry.
McKinstry.
McKinstry?
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
McKinstry. That's right.
Yep.
I thought I said it right. Okay. But his overall grade in 2023 was 88.8. In 22, he was 82.5. He played 14 games this year, 848 defensive snaps, 482 coverage snaps. He allowed 19 receptions on the year, targeted 39 times.
What's his overall pass coverage grade, though, PFF?
Let me see in here. I got the overall. Hold on a minute. Yeah. First look, trends. I don't know if they had the whole. Okay, coverage. Yeah, 87.8 coverage grade.
Wow, that's really good.
Quarterbacks have a 48% completion when throwing against him. He's got a 74.7 man coverage grade and an 83.8 zone coverage grade. So, yeah, he's pretty good.
We know Steve does a lot of football. So Steve says the research that he's done, the top four corners to go first are Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Nate Wiggins. Now, is that in that order, Steve? He says Quinyon Mitchell is from Toledo.
Yep.
Birth name is Gaquincy McKinstry. Good call, Fred. I thought I'd read somewhere that his birth name was Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is his nickname then. Okay, it's not as cool now. But I suppose if my name was Gaquincy, I'd probably go by Kool-Aid too.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm with Steve on the Quinyon Mitchell story has been kind of cool, like to listen to people talk about, because he was considered like a second, third round, and just through like Senior Bowl, those types of, the extra playing. I'm not sure exactly where the hype came from, but he's been moving his way up. The small school guy has been making his name in there, and I think that he may end up being the top corner when the combine is done.
Quinyon Mitchell, you're talking about.
Quinyon Mitchell. He's the buzz candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what Steve's saying.
And Nate Wiggins and Cooper DeShawn. I mean, these guys, Cooper's the kind of guy that it seems like the Lions could get at 29, like they would go and get all these higher profile dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He doesn't have length or long arms. I do know that so far. But how cool is that, though? I just got a gut feeling says Brad Holmes is gonna trade up.
They got some dudes though. Byron Murphy, the second interior defensive lineman. He's a 12th overall prospect. I'm just throwing in some of these guys. 295-pound defensive tackle from Illinois. Graded out at a 91.5 last year, 84.9 this year. I mean, this is where Brad Holmes is going to make his mark there. I mean, he may trade up, but
was that the defensive tackle from Illinois, Newton?
Yeah.
What was his PFF grade that had
90? He had 91 last year and an 84 this year.
Wow. Guess where he's going in Kuiper's draft?
Where?
23 to the Texans.
Interesting.
So if you want that guy, you're probably not going to get him at 29.
Well, I mean, not all of these guys can go in the first round. These guys that I'm, you may be able to get them, but there's also a bunch of quarterbacks and there's other positions that are there, but not everybody's going to take all these cornerbacks. I mean, look at these how many is that? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight. You think there's going to be 8 first-round corners?
No, but there's going to be, like you said, after the combine, though, the cream's going to rise to the top. You're going to see who the real dogs are. One funky Lions fan says, Letu Latu is the guy I'd like if Holmes does move up. But he's a linebacker, though, Funky. He's a Lion. I mean, we're talking about corners, what we're looking at. I mean, you think the Lions would go linebacker in the first round? Like Brad Holmes always says, we don't draft position, we draft football players. We draft football players, not position. So I guess if that's the guy, I know that'd make Greg Rice happy.
Yeah. I mean,
a UCLA Bruin on the Lions.
I mean, the 5th overall prospect is a tight end. Well, we know we're not going to draft Brock Bowers, right?
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till we do the workup on this guy, on Brock Bowers. When we start looking at prospects and breaking down their measurables and things like that at combine time. Because this guy, I mean, some of the highlights I've seen, this guy's Travis Kelce in a 22-year-old frame. So this guy's good. This Brock Bowers guy might be special, real special. In fact, Mel Kiper has him going 5th overall to the Chargers.
Really? Okay.
So 5 overall for a tight end. Holy cow.
Hey.
You look at the best tight ends in the league, and most of them aren't first-round draft picks.
Yeah, they can't all be Sam Laporta.
Yeah, well, right. but even that, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, those guys weren't first-round draft picks.
Right.
Only people who are pissed that they drafted Kyle Pitts in their fantasy team believe in first-round tight ends. I got to jump off, Russ. God bless each and one of you, every one of you out there. It's Main Event Mike. Peace out.
That's Main Event Mike. There you go. I like this talk, though. You know, we're talking about, you know, what Brad Holmes is going to do, but we really don't know. Because I'm looking at this list right here. Here's a couple tackles that are in. You got a couple tackles that are here. So you don't know what they're going to do. Thank you, Fred. Thank you for contributing to the channel. I appreciate you, man. But they would go with the best player, and they would absolutely. I mean, you got a great offensive line, but what's to say they wouldn't take one of these tackles? Byron Murphy Jr., right? No, that's the defensive tackle, but Fuaga and Fashanu. That's where they got these 2 tackles up there. 6'6", 319. Lions might do that. But there's a lot of cornerbacks in here. Edge rusher, Dallas Turner. I don't know if I would think that Brad Holmes is going to trade up. Think so? Chad says that the Vikings have no idea who their quarterback's going to be. Steve says he loves talking football. I do. I love this football talk. But these Lions, and you know, really the entire NFC North, you're looking at these guys, and it's a curious talk. I don't want to go into too much details on these rankings so far because I'm sure that these are going to change. But I do want to go into them so we can know where they changed from. You know, they say Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. That would be an interesting Lions prospect. We got to get after the quarterback, guys. That'll help make your cornerbacks better. Nothing protects your cornerbacks better than a good pass rush, right? Makes me feel pretty good. And you got a good pass rush going in there. I'm sorry I had to talk behind the screen today. I didn't get to get into my studio. So you get the podcast version of Russell Wayne. Oh. So what quarterback do you think that they would take? There's a lot of people that would think that the Lions might take that 29th pick. You know, somebody would trade up into the first round to maybe take one of those other quarterbacks that are available. But free agency is going to be here first. I mean, it's fun to talk the draft stuff, but really it's the free agents. So what are the Minnesota Vikings going to do? What do they got as far as free agency? I mean, you're going to sign Kirk Cousins? You're going to sign Kirk Cousins? What the hell is Quezzy doing over there? If I was a Viking fan, I would be pissed. I'd be pissed at what's been going on. I mean, the way they signed that contract for Hunter, they just gave him a bunch of money, kind of screwed their pooch on their future, and he doesn't even have to sign with the team again. Maybe he'll stay. But, man. Fred asked me how the show went on Saturday. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. If you guys want to, there are some good videos over at Toolology, at my page Toolology from the show. But it was awesome. Tool fans are awesome. They really know how to get into contact. We're singing all the words to the song. It's beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. Machine Shop. That's a club in Flint, Michigan. Really, really cool. If you ever get a chance, I got you, Fred. You ever want to come to a show, man, you give me a DM. I'm gonna be down in Detroit at the end of March with Mike's band again. This place called The District. If you guys want, I'd love to make a guest list for you guys. You guys come in. Anybody from the show that wants to come in and watch a show. Because you guys don't know me like that. And that's okay. That's okay. We'll get acquainted like that sometimes. It's fun. It's fun. But I'm looking at the free agency list right here. Free agency list. Who do you want to get? You know, Josh Allen is going to... I don't think Josh Allen's going to be available. T. Higgins... franchise tag. I think that he'll get a franchise tag. All these top guys, I think, will get a franchise tag. Maybe not Kirk Cousins. Chris Jones. I don't think that he's going to take a franchise tag. Do they pay him? Are they going to pay him all that money? You get a franchise. You probably get a. Then there's Brian Burns. Pass rusher. You want Brian Burns for your team? They're projecting his contract's going to be a 1-year, $22 million deal. Brian Burns. You Brian Burns fan? Defensive interior. I don't even know how to say. Matabuki. Justin Matabuki. Yeah. Thinking we'll get $23 million a year annual, 4-year projected contract, 26 years old. That was a dominating Baltimore defense last year. How would you like to have him right in the interior line? I know the Lions would like that. You'll make a move like that. Defensive interior, Christian Wilkins. He's only 28. He's been pretty consistent too. Christian Wilkins. $20 million. They think that he's going to get franchise tag. Anybody in this conversation with me? Yeah? D Hunt, LOL. Oh, is Joy's in the trying to spread some stuff in the comments. Yeah. How many and any of you guys wrestling fans on here? I know Steve is real. Yeah. You haven't been over to follow the wrestling page yet. You should do that. WrestleMania. I'm gonna hit it up. Antoine Winfield Jr., safety from Tampa Bay. He's available. And Jalen Johnson, he's probably going to get a franchise tag. They're going to franchise tag Jalen Johnson. Michael Pittman Jr., he's probably going to get a franchise tag. Daniil Hunter, oh gosh, that would be nice. Would you love to have Daniil Hunter on your team? You know they ain't gonna sign him, and there ain't no way he's gonna sign him in Minnesota again. No way. No way. What's up, Dwayne? What's up, Brent? David Barnett in the house. Chad's still here. Chad, I still got that footage, man. I'm trying to. When we play Dallas next year, I'm gonna bust that footage out that you sent. And comb through that. I'll make something special for that. I wasn't in a good mood when you sent me that stuff. I was trying to be creative and I just couldn't. I was too pissed from that Dallas game. But we're these Lion fans, we're going crazy over here. We want to win a championship. NFC championship. We got a taste for half an hour. We thought we was going to the dance. And we kind of puttered out there at the end. But they made it farther than any of us thought they were going to make it. So, kudos to that, to the Lions for this year. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Way to go. Let's make this team better. That's what we were trying to do today. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the team better. And what do you think Brad Holmes is going to do with this $44 million that he has? We went over a little bit of Capology today. Because, I want to help people understand about how the cap works. So you're not just thinking, it isn't as easy as just, hey, I'm going to spend $44 million. I got the extra money. You can work it differently than that. You can extend players. We talked about the dead cap. We talked about how you can convert base salary to bonus. And you would be able to save money off of the cap that way. So extending guys like Jared Goff and Taylor Decker would help right now without hurting too much of the future, because these guys are planning on being on your team anyway. Your cap number for a guy like Taylor Decker was already high. You're already paying a lot of money for him. So it's already counting against the cap. So if you can lower that number for this year and compete, that's what you want to do. When your team's ready to compete, you want to compete. If you're ready to go, the Lions need to help on that front seven a little bit. They need to be able to get after the quarterback. And we want to help spend some of that money. Get some of these guys. Wouldn't you love to have Daniil Hunter on the team? I mean, you can have the money to go out and get one of these high impact players. And you will still have money to sign all of the rookie class. Jeremy was talking about this morning. Yes, it's probably going to cost, between $15-20 million to sign the rookie class, depending on where they move in the draft. But if they pick where they're picking, and they don't do any shuffling around, that's how much money it'll cost. But they can manipulate a lot of these contracts. There's some equity in some of these players that in one way or another are going to be able to free up even more money. So one of these players could be on the team. You need to bring in some veteran guys like that. It don't hurt. You've drafted a good core. Jeremy was talking a little bit earlier about, all these other players that are secondary players that are free agencies. They're not going to cost a ton. They're going to be coming in for minimums. Yes, and it's still going to cost some money, but there's more money in this offseason than we've ever seen here under the Brad Holmes administration. So I like where they're going with it. You get some of these guys. This is a Jeremy B. like right there. I would love to see them pick up Uzi. Because he was injured, he kind of had a bounce back year. I think that he might come in to win the championship. He could win the championship. Come on in. But Brad Holmes is going to be cool, dude. Brad Holmes ain't going to let anybody take. We have a budget. We need to get another corner in here. Opposite Sutton. We've already seen that we don't want Cameron Sutton guarding number one wide receivers. Okay? I'm feeling like that. State of the secondary is I love our safeties. I love our safeties. They got to figure out what they're going to do on that back end. They're probably going to end up cutting Tracy Walker, or they'll give him an extension very similar to what they did with Romeo Okwara. You got your good year. Bringing back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, maybe. But I like that safety room with the guys that he drafted. Ifeatu Melifonwu, Brian Branch, Herbie Joseph. You bring back Chauncey. You're not going to have to pay him all that much. He was injured all last year. The offensive line is great for right now. They got a draft for the future. So that's where I think that you're going to see. You may see a boring draft this year, guys. I think they'll go in and they'll fill a couple of these holes that they got. Getting that defensive line and that pass rush and that secondary. I think they'll fix those needs in free agency. And when they get to the draft, don't be surprised if they go boring guard. Couple offensive line. You got to get the future. Go another left tackle. Bring another tackle in. You got to keep stockpiling, man. You need the heir apparent. Yeah. It's great that we got a great starting offensive line. Let's keep it together. Let's bring back our own and then draft for the future. Good stuff. Good conversation today. Appreciate everybody watching. Who do we still got in the comments right here? Yes, our safety are dogs. He just needs to fill some little holes. I was talking to Mike this morning, and I'm under the impression that this Lions team is 3 to 4 players away from being a I mean, I think that we were contenders this year. Like that they got into the Super Bowl. I mean, I feel like they missed a chance to win the Super Bowl by not finishing that job because I thought that they were the best team left after watching them all play. But, you know, there's obvious deficiency in the secondary where I think you can put one or two cornerbacks in there. Maybe it's in development, but one player, two player, and then another pass rusher. Like if they go out and splash it up and give Hutchinson a legitimate guy on the other side. That's why I love the move of Danielle Hunter so much. I mean, you're competing this year. You don't have to make these long-term deals. You're competing now with Jared Goff. And when you finally decide to move on from Goff, well, you're going to save a bunch of money there because you got your heir apparent quarterback sitting in the back, taking care of it. But Greg Rice is in the Detroit Lions news chat right now saying Tracy Walker's gone. And I agree with that. I mean, unless they're going to do something to keep him as a depth piece, but you can't pay a special teamer $8 million. So that's like one of those obvious cuts. But I appreciate everybody watching Faith, Family, and Football. Faith, family, and football. Faith coming first, then family and football in that order. The family and football, that's easy. That's just a matter of spending time with the family and watching these games together. But I had a fun time today. This is an everyday thing, man. We're live twice a day. Sometimes it's with Smoke and Jeremy. You got Jeremy B in the mornings. Smoke and Jeremy B in the mornings. And then Football Talk with Russell Wayne, 3 p.m. during the off season. Are you hyped for the off season? You like the off season? You like the off season as much as I do? Well, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. But may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you. Until we meet again next time for Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Peace out.
What's up, y'all? This is Ifati Malafanu, safety for the Detroit Lions. And I just want to take some time out to give a big shout out to Russell Wayne and Main Event Mike from the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. It's a fan page and a podcast. And I just want to say I appreciate the support of me and my team. And I encourage everyone to go check out their podcast and check out their fan page. Go Lions.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.